Hey guys, welcome to another live show, another live She Knows Arsenal. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And most importantly, getting into the chat and letting me know what you guys are thinking about Arsenal 2, Olympiacos 0. We won our second game in the league phase of the Champions League. And for the most part, it was an easy win. But we made it difficult. I don't know. It was a weird one. I'm not gonna lie. It was for a minute, I was like, are we about to throw this away? Is this about to be one of those dark moments? But like Port Vale, it felt like we finally just got that second goal that we should have gotten earlier on in the game. I'm just gonna set up a man of the match poll for you guys. I rarely do it because I always forget, but I'll do it this time. Let's see. Who played well? I'm like trying to think who played well. It's kind of a weird one. I could tell you who didn't play well, but actually, yeah, okay. There, I did the man of the match poll. You guys can vote on that. But yeah, I think it's just one of those games where you would have preferred Arsenal to have gotten gotten it done earlier. We left it late. We definitely left it up to, up to chance. I felt very similarly with this game as I did with Port Vale, where I just didn't really understand how we got, when we get the early goal, why we don't just go ahead and get the second. I will say that some players, well, I'm going to say Trossard really was keeping it 1-0, almost single-handedly. I hate to call him out. I love Trossard, but there was a period of time where early in the second half where he got maybe 3 or 4 chances. No, I'll say 2 or 3 chances. And he just didn't put any of them away. And I think had they had equalized like on the offside goal or even later on, we would have been looking back at those chances like, why didn't you just put those in the back of the net? There was the really early chance in the first half where, Martinelli should have put the ball in the back of the net from the header. There was not a chance creation problem in this game. There were some times where I thought we were being like maybe overly intricate, but that's like an Arsenal problem. That's this team's problem. We do try to create goals that are like super intricate, but that intricacy wasn't keeping us from getting to that place where we just needed to put the ball in the back of the net. I thought, again, Gyokeres was slow, sometimes getting his shot off. He really could have scored maybe 2 goals as well. It was just a bad day at the office for the front three for the most part, in different ways. Gyokeres, Trossard, and Martinelli did get that initial goal, but he had some moments too where it was like you just kind of needed to put that in the back of the net. But I thought everybody else, for the most part, was really good. I thought Odegaard looked back to his best. Not surprised. It's just one bad season. Been telling you guys that for about a year now. And he looks like he's finally fit, which is important. Zubimendi was really, really good. I actually thought Moreno was good too. And then in the back line, Saliba and Gabriel were their normal selves. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I thought, was brilliant today. I thought White was getting beat the fuck down by Podence. I can't lie. I was thinking about the 60th minute, like, let's go ahead and make the change. Now, I was thinking just put Mascara in at right back and let Timber rest. But because we had left it late and we only had the 1 goal around like the 65th minute, and they had started making changes to really push, I think Arteta went a little bit defensive with his first round of subs with Rice and White. Also could have been the fact that like White's still building up fitness and Moreno had just went down. So he brought in Rice and Timber for those reasons. But I thought we were trying to get more solid maybe. And we definitely needed to stop Podence, because if they were going to score, it was going to come from him. Watching Ben White get turned by Podence in 2025 was very dark. It was dark, but I'm feeling like he just needs to get up to speed. But as soon as Timber came on, I felt safe. Timber, like the first time he had to go up against Podence, just took the ball off of his toe. And it was like, that's just the difference between the two of them. Ben White can get got at, but Timber just cannot. And then we made some more attacking subs around the 70th minute. I don't know if maybe Eze and Saka could only go for 20 minutes. So we waited until the 70th minute basically to get them on. But I don't necessarily feel like they made us that much more attacking. I think there were some moments where, they were a little lost in it, but it's hard because I feel like when you have that 1-0 lead and they're making attacking subs and they're going for it because they have nothing to lose, it makes it more difficult for you to attack because you're afraid that that you pushing too far forward is going to leave gaps. Like there was the moment where, Timber and I think Odegaard had like a miscommunication on the right-hand side, and then they were gone on Timber's side. And so I think that's like the danger of not getting the 2-0 early or putting your chances away in the first half. They would have been dead in the water, and not even trying, basically not pushing as much as they were if they had known it was over in the first half or in the first 50 minutes or so. But because they were pushing, I think it made us a little reluctant to really like go gun ho. And so you have to really like toe that line between still trying to take your chances as they come, but not leave yourself susceptible. I thought Raya was brilliant today as well. He made some really good saves, to be honest. And, it was a weird day where we weren't under like a lot of pressure, but we could see how that could have went terribly, terribly wrong. So I'm just wondering if there's a way that Arsenal can just not take the foot off of the gas and be more clinical after they get that initial early goal against teams like this. Not leave it up to chance. I know we're incredibly, resilient defensively. I know that we have so much we're so hard to break down for most teams, but just one false move, one little mistake, and it's 1-1, and then we're under pressure in a game that we really shouldn't be at all. So I don't want to pretend like I think that we were under like massive pressure, but I do think that we put ourselves in a position where it was a little bit less comfortable than it should have been. But for the most part, I think we did a lot of really good things in that game. I just wish we would have been more clinical. Ash says, I'd rather have this problem of missing chances than not creating at all, which I do agree 100% with you. Like Ash is saying, we were having problems just creating anything for a while. And the last two games we've created almost ad nauseum. The problem is actually more that, we're not as clinical as we should be. And, I agree. I'd rather have this problem because more times than not, we'll put those balls in the back of the net. But, I just think, to be honest, Gyokeres and Trossard need to just look in the mirror and say, you need to put the ball in the back of the net, because they were effing around. I'm not gonna lie. Odegaard should have probably had like a hat trick of assists today. Genuinely, that little slip pass that he puts in on the left hand side into the left half space or the left side of the box, just it irritated me how it wasn't taken advantage of at all until Saka came on, and even his was like shot through the goalkeeper's legs. Can you guys please slash it across the goal and into the far corner, or just smash it? Like, what's going on? So yeah, I think it was a poor day at the office for the attackers, but you would imagine if we had maybe our better attackers out there, Saka and Eze from the beginning, it would have been a different story. They would have finished some of those chances. But yeah, I like the idea of creating chances, and I think that, Arteta coached a 5-0. It was supposed to be like a typical, it should have been like a 3-4. It should have been so different. It should have been so different. And, it is what it is. I didn't even see what had happened in the other games. So you guys will have to let me know what happened in the other games. I didn't really watch any. I didn't watch any of the Barcelona PSG game, unfortunately, because I was too busy watching us. I see Monaco and Man City drew, and we created 3.15 xG against Olympiacos. So, like, we battered them. Newcastle did well against Union Gillies, and PSG beat Barcelona. Wow. and I know they had quite a few players missing as well. So if you guys watched that game, give me a little summary of what happened because I watched our game. Sorry, I watched our game. So yeah, once I saw that PSG were missing players, I was like, fuck this shit. Like I'm not, I'm not even gonna struggle to try to watch this as well. I'm just gonna watch us. Hold on, who's texting me? That looks like a number I recognize. No, I don't recognize you. All right. In the other games happened, City not as good. PSG's still the best team in the world. Only Arsenal can stop them. That's what happened. Damn. PSG schooled Barca in the second half. Bruh. Was it that bad? Seriously. Like, was it really a battering or was it like tell the truth? Don't be exaggerating. Was it a battering? I have to go look at the highlights after this because yeah. The highlight of the match is that wonderful pass from Eze to Saka. The rest is blah. I don't think the rest was blah. I think Odegaard put in quite a few passes, good passes as well. And the beginning of that move was Odegaard as well. So yeah, I think there was quite a few really good moments, not just that, but if you were, bored for the rest of for the whole game until that one pass, then cool, good for you. Here to there says if we don't win this year, the Cronkies need to give Luis Enrique a blank check. Important victory for the standings and continuity, but we suffered again against an average team against Atletico Madrid. We need to put in a super performance, not like tonight. I don't, I don't worry about us against the better sides. This is the thing with Arsenal is when we play against Atletico Madrid, I know we're going to be awake. Our thing is when we play up against these smaller teams, we create these chances and we sit on 1-0 and then we make it weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I'm saying that Atletico Madrid's going to be easy, but we tend to be really switched on in the bigger games. We tend to do what we need to do in the bigger games. We tend to perform much better. But against these smaller teams, I don't know if it was just because it was Trossard and Martinelli on the wings and it was just different and they weren't putting the ball in the back of the net and Gyokeres was acting like, he had forgotten how to play football for 5 minutes. Like, I don't know if it was just that or what, but when Arsenal play against the big teams, they're locked in. But when we do the Port Vales and the Olympiacos, we make it difficult because we just don't go ahead and get the second goal. And I just wonder if it's just like the difference between having certain players in the team or not. I feel like maybe if Eze was in there instead of Trossard, it would have been 3-0 in the first half. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I get what you're saying, but we have this problem with sitting on 1-0s. We do that quite a bit. Do you think maybe Gyokeres needs to be coming off the bench to get his confidence up? No, I think he needs to keep playing. I think with Gyokeres, he needs to learn how to take one less touch. And yeah, but there's no reason to bench him for who? There's no Havertz. So you play him until Havertz comes back and then they can fight it out amongst each other. But Gyokeres just needs to keep playing, That's as simple as it is. Akinola says, I think we performed well today, not poorly as before. It's just that Olympiacos made it difficult to score. I think this weekend against West Ham, Gyokeres will have fire in his belly. Cole Palmer says, hold that. Okay. Holding that W, weirdo. Somebody didn't check the scores. People expect every Arsenal game to be prime Barca. They schooled them in the sense that they were better and shut down Lamine Yamal, and Vitinha was rusty on top of that. Crazy. And Shamari says, hold what? That's what I'm saying, weirdo. Kwame says, hi, Jess. I'm still unconvinced. We left it late again for 2-0. I mean, I could understand more if I felt like we didn't play well. There's a big difference between creating chances and conceding chances. Creating chances and missing chances and then conceding chances, but we created a lot of chances, missed them, but didn't really concede much either. So I think we played well, to be honest. I just think that there's a distinct difference between, Trossard and Martinelli instead of like Eze and Saka. I just think it's just that. And they were weird in front of goal today, especially Trossard. At one point, I was texting the group chat and I was like, Trossard is single-handedly keeping this game 1-0. I really do think it was like an individual issue, nothing more. FDOC says Trossard missed all of our big chances. That's what I'm saying. We didn't play very well. Oh, well. only well, but Trossard was shit. Hold the win, hold the Saka goal, hold the Odegaard masterclass. It's just weird. We need to take our chances and be ruthless. Johan says, I gagged when I saw Nani, Jesus, Havertz, Hincapié together. That depth is utterly wild. I mean, I guess that's something that, hasn't really been spoken about today is the fact that we have all those players missing, like Johan is saying. Gabriel had to come off, and we just kind of did our thing. Like, I feel like the one thing that we missed out on today is we didn't get an opportunity. And this is just a personal thing. This is not something that I expect us to get, but we didn't get to see Ethan or Max, probably because we didn't score early enough, or score the 2 goals early enough. So, yeah. But having all those players injured, knowing that I think all 3 of them will actually be back around the same time, around January time. Getting all of them back, not Hincapié, but the other 3, getting those 3 back. I don't know who will be injured by then, but how do you fit them all in? I mean, it's going to be interesting. I did think about something though in this game that, Eze did something in this game where when he came on, he got in between 2 defenders, dribbled past them, and then passed this ball into Declan Rice. And Declan Rice was, posted up on the back line, took a bad touch, and then conceded the yellow, or conceded the foul, took the yellow. And I just thought, who would have been perfect in that position? Probably the only player that we have that could actually play in that pocket, Jesus. He's probably the player that if Eze had gotten the ball in that position, would have gotten that pass and been able to do something with it in a crowd scene. I wonder if we'll ever get to see Eze and Jesus play together, because the way that Eze plays, the 1-2s that he plays, sometimes he passes it into players, sometimes like Rice or Marino, and they take like this big touch. And I'm just thinking, who would be able to corral that ball and do something with it and play those really intricate 1-2s? I think Jesus could do it. I wonder if we'll ever see them together. That's just something that popped into my head when I saw that. I was like, no offense to Rice, because you guys know I love him down. I'll defend him with my life. But he's probably not the player that you want, in between the lines, or, posted up on the back line when you want to push that ball into their feet and they have to take that dead on sight touch. He's not the one that you really want in that position. But I feel like Jesus would probably do really well with Eze, but I don't know if we'll ever really see it, because I don't know what Jesus is going to be like when he gets back. But that's the first thing that I thought, Valeria says, that's why you don't count out quality. Odegaard is brilliant. I would just say that, I think there was a lot of revisionism around Odegaard last season based on one bad season. I can understand the frustration around him. He's the captain and all of that, but people are genuinely acting like he was never good. They were acting like he was never good. It was very frustrating. And I was like, this is going to look so stupid when he comes back and he's fit and he starts playing well. People are acting like he was terrible in preseason. He was terrible in the first game that he played. He was terrible. He wasn't. It's just weird. And, people obviously say that it's because Eze came in and he's patterned up because Eze's in. Whatever reason you want to use as a reason why, it was just one bad season. It was always just one bad season. Victor says he coached a 4-1, to be honest. I don't think we have to look beautiful every single game. We beat a team 2-0 that haven't lost a game this season after also playing an intense game at SJP Sunday before. I don't think we played bad football, though. This is what I'm saying. I don't even think we played bad football. I think we played really nice football. I think up until the ball hit Gyokeres or Trossard's toe, we were playing good football. So, excuse me, I think we did play beautifully. In terms of our buildup was really nice, some of the touches and all that. So I don't really have an issue with the way that we played. I just think some players just didn't have their shooting boots on. That's it. Rocco, thank you so much for your super chat. Rocco says, hey, Jess, just wanted to say your content is amazing. I love how good your understanding of football is. Plus, you look great doing it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I want to thank you guys for all of the support on my short form videos that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Some of you guys have been begging for those, so I wanted to make sure that I at least tried them out and see how they went. And I think they're doing pretty well. It's weird not talking to you guys and just recording, but if you guys like the videos, then I love it. Whatever you guys like is, most important. But thank you so much. I do really appreciate it. And yeah, it's nice to be recognized sometimes for the work that you're doing. So thank you so much. Ball Hub says you look absolutely stunning. Thank you so much. Sometimes I do clean up nicely. Sometimes I put makeup on. So thank you. I appreciate that. Amadou says Odegaard was awesome. Rice Eze had one to the moments. Yep. Good evening, Jess. It's called football. It is called football. I am still back. I'm still back Gyokeres. We must give him the ball more. Oh, I back Gyokeres. The thing is if I think he did poorly doing certain things, I'm going to say it, but that doesn't mean that I don't back him. I back him all the way. I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be good once he just recognizes that he needs to take one less touch and get that shot off early. And he should have scored that one chance that he got where he cut it in and it just barely went over the bar. Like we're just barely getting him the ball now. This is probably the first time that we fed him straight up, with Odegaard feeding him, I think twice, so yeah, he just needs to take one less touch and relax. I know that he's dying to score, but just chill, Johan says Jesus and Eze champagne football for sure. If Jesus can still play, I just think his knees they may be gone. I'm not trying to be like a downer, but you would have to expect that the two major knee injuries that he's had will take a toll on the football that he can play. But, that's the first thing that I thought is if Eze is firing the ball into how does that move end up in something better than what we got? Probably Jesus. He's probably the one player that I think if you shoot the ball into him in that position, it dies right at his foot and he can do something quickly. So yeah, Martinelli was a hard watch. Martinelli is not a bench player. I don't really know if it's like, listen, Martinelli had some poorish moments today as well. He scored the goal, but he should have scored the first chance, so Martinelli was fine today, but would I say that because when you say he's not a bench player, whose spot do you think he's taking? Because I'm not going to start Martinelli over Saka or Eze. And if Madueke was fit, I would still have Madueke over him. So I do think that he's found his role. I'll be honest. I think his role is very much so off the bench, scoring goals off the bench. But, I don't know. That's where I stand with Martinelli right now. I don't think every time you score a goal that means that you should instantly start starting, but that's just me. Let's see. The gulf in class between White and Timber is so obvious. I think White has resigned himself to a bench player. I don't think he cares too much. To be honest, I don't really, I feel like this is just a thing. Like last season, I felt like it was very obvious that Timber was clear of White, but that doesn't mean that White is not a very good player, but it's just Timber is a much better player. So it just is what it is. But yeah, people were fighting the good fight for White last season, but it's Timber's world. And I also think that if White could stay here for the rest of his life, he would. I don't think White's tripping. White is like a Nacho Monreal type of player for me, a more consistent player, but it's not going to be super tripping if he's not starting. It is what it is, with White, to be honest, at this stage. I don't really care. Because Timber is just so good, it doesn't even matter. Do you know what I mean? FDOC says, I've never seen Arteta give so much instructions to Timber like he did with White today. I believe Arteta is just now used to Timber's game. I don't think he doesn't care. The gap is so big, it makes White look worse in comparison. Gyokeres wants to score so badly. That's why he's missing chances he would usually score. he was just going forwards, backwards, no take-ons, at least Trossard tried. He was just going forwards and backwards, no take-ons, at least. I don't know, are we still talking about Ben? Are we still talking about Ben there? Listen, I feel like Ben also is, like, literally just coming back off of injury and long-term knee injury, like, we gotta give him a minute to, like, really get his bearings, but would it be that big of a deal if Ben White wasn't, in Timber's atmosphere? Probably not, you know? I did a video the other day, a lot of you guys supported it, um, uh, on Timber. Timber is just an otherworldly talent that it just is what it is, you know? Ben White was eh, I don't know, I just it is what it is for me. Just because last season, like, early doors, I remember we were playing against, like, Leicester and Southampton. I remember sitting here in front of you guys saying, Ben White's good, but Timber is just in a whole nother stratosphere. And people were, White's so much better going forward, and we should just play Timber when we need defense. And I don't get everything right, but this thing I know I was right about. So this is not like shocking to me. It's not new information. What Timber did to Joel Linton and Guimaraes on the weekend, sheesh, it was horrendous for them, but great for us. Substitute Trossard easily scores a hat trick today. Substitute Trossard. Yep, I hear that. Just MLS in that midfield. I saw flashes of generational talent. I thought MLS was excellent today. I thought MLS was. I have him for one of the man of the match because I thought he was outstanding today in terms of, like, his defense. I thought he stepped up perfectly for the offside goal, which was so important. I don't think we give defenders enough credit for actually having the IQ to step up when you need to. I think he won fouls really well, which is an odd thing to praise, but whenever he got into a situation that was a little sticky, they were on him, whatever, he drew fouls really well. He got into central space as well. I think it's the perfect, like, kind of situation now that, he was a little rusty and looking a little, like, off it in preseason. Calafiori was ready to go. He's played well. And now, Miles in his last couple of, like, you know, his performances have gotten better and better. And now he looks ready. So I think it's, I think it's perfect, the way that things have worked out. So now Arteta has to decide between MLS and Calafiori. I do think that Calafiori will start against West Ham, but we have tons of squad depth, so we'll have to use everybody to go far in all four competitions. And I think MLS should be starting Premier League games, not Cal. Our defense is so much more organized now. I mean, listen, it was like two weeks ago where everybody was talking about Cal has been one of our best performers. I think, ultimately Cal has done super well. He was one of our best performers against Man United, Liverpool, Leeds, Nottingham Forest. So, you know, I don't know if our defense is so much more organized. It's not like when Calafiori was playing, we conceded more than what, 2, 3 goals. You know what? The Calafiori's not at fault for Soboslai. I mean, the Soboslai goal or whatever, he wasn't really at fault for the Holland goal. Kind of feel like, it's a little bit of maybe people were frustrated that, I saw people saying things like Arteta's ruining MLS and ruining Ethan. I think there's always like this natural anxiety around the young players, if especially Haaland, if they don't start getting playing time, then they're gonna leave. But genuinely, like, it's not like he's sitting on the bench for Cedric. It's Calafiori, and Calafiori's been really, really good this season. Has his first bad game or probably like not so great game was Newcastle. So yeah, I think people are panicking for no reason about MLS. I'll be real. IR says, I love the way Odegaard was trying to get Gyokeres, set Gyokeres up in this first half. I'd start Calla still. Let's see. I think the issue with Calla is he's all over the place, which can be great at times, but also cause too much traffic in certain areas and gets in the way of the attack. MLS has better positioning. I guess so. I don't really see that. I don't see he's getting in the way. I actually think for a long period of like, especially the first couple games where the left-hand side wasn't doing anything, Calla was the only reason why it was functional. So I kind of get it, but like I don't really see it like that. I think Calafiori for he's tends to be one of our better attackers at times, on the left-hand side in particular, because the left-hand side just has no va va boom, no flair, no nothing. So I get it. I accept that like I don't agree, but I see what you're saying, if that makes sense. I don't see a problem with Calafiori, and I also don't really see a problem with MLS. I think both of them are really good and they're gonna share time. I think because this is probably the first time that we have so many good players, we're going to see this often where it's one player is doing all this bad and then one player is doing all this good, and we need to swap them and it's going to be constant. But like left back is just not a problem right now. It's just not. We have a player we haven't even seen yet in that position. Kala hasn't been a problem at all this season, to be fair. People were saying that he was going to get cooked against Liverpool and against United, and he didn't. He scored a couple goals, he's gotten a couple assists. Like, MLS is finally looking fit and ready to go. He was really good today. We don't have a left back problem. Yeah. I don't know. MLS could start against West Ham and I'd be like, yes. And Cali could start against West Ham and I'd be like, yes. When we've lived through some dark times at left back. We have, so yeah. Our squad is solid. We don't need to do mental gymnastics to justify why someone isn't playing. Plus, Hincapié debut is still pending for sure. I mean, he's definitely going to add another layer to things, but MLS to me is a special, special talent that will have his moment in the sun. We don't need to rush it. Like, he had so much praise and justified praise, by the way, last season. And now, he's slowly getting up to speed in this season. I think that's fine. But I anticipate teething issues with the fan base with this team, because outside of maybe the striker position, we are fucking fully stocked. We are fully stocked. I've never seen anything like this before. Because obviously Jesus and Havertz are both injured. That's why I'm saying it's not stocked in that position. But we don't have any problems right now in terms of depth and quality. So, we're not used to this. It's always pitting somebody up against, and the person that's on the bench is world-class, person playing is shit, and then they switch, and then it's that person is good and that person is bad. It's just nice. Judge Mo! Make sure you guys are subscribed to Footy Judge Mo. I will be on there tomorrow morning, or it'll be afternoon for you guys, but so early in the morning to cook dawn. Make sure you guys are there. I have not forgotten. Just because they beat whoever yesterday, they beat Benfica, I still need to get mine. So we will be there. Make sure you guys are there as well. But yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, because we have fun over there. And I bet you KG will not be there this time, will he? Bet you won't be there this time. What time is that UK tomorrow? So what is it? It's 3:30. So 3:30 p.m. UK time. Yeah, 3:30 UK tomorrow, which is like 7:30 in the morning for me. So yeah, 3:30 tomorrow, you guys. Make sure you guys are there, because it's going to be so fun. Demore says Arteta is rotating well. I thought the rotation today was really good. I think, I was really critical of Slot and Thomas Frank last night, because I felt like they were almost a little too arrogant, especially like Thomas Frank. Well, he's learning, I guess, Champions League, because he's never coached in Champions League before, but you can't be going away to these places without your best team. You need to play your best guys. If we were away to Olympiacos, I would have expected Eze and Saka to start. But because we're at home and we're kind of more comfy, and Olympiacos aren't the best side, we could afford to rotate. So we had our first choice center back pairing. We had, rotated our fullbacks. We had Zubamendi in and Odegaard, but not Rice. And then no Eze and no Saka, but Gyokeres. it was like the perfect rotation. It wasn't overly rotated, and we were still good down the spine, but we still were able to rest Saka and Eze and Timber for the most part, and Rice, you know. So I personally, in the last couple of games, I feel like Arteta's, I don't want to say like he's listening or whatever, because he doesn't give a shit. He's not listening to what I'm saying. If you are, my bad. But, you know, I think he knows that he needs to rotate a little bit better, and he finally has the team that can do it. So I'm liking the rotation so far. I would have loved to see Ethan and Max today, but we just didn't get the the early goal, the early second goal, so I don't think we had the ability to. But outside of that, you know, today was pretty good. Just wish we would have got more goals. K Skizzy says Arteta watches She Knows Arsenal before bed. Like, literally, if he ever saw this channel, I would be mortified. I would be fucking mortified. I'm one of those, like, if I ever got a chance to be in the room interviewing or doing, like, you know, the press conference, I'd be just like everyone else. Mikkel, like, da, 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 da. Like, listen, I'm no better than anybody else. I don't want him hearing me say bad things about him, really. I stand on what I said, but I don't think he's looking at this. Let's be real. But he's probably seen AFTV. I'm sure he's seen that. Especially Ethan. Martinelli wasted a couple of through passes to Gyokeres. He wanted to run instead. I mean, listen, I don't think the front three were particularly great today. They all had their individual problems, but we got the job done. So what can you do? Odegaard, man of the match. I think Odegaard was man of the match. I also think MLS was brilliant today. I just want to say that. I thought Raya was really good too. So, yeah. Gyokeres probably watching right now. Gyokeres, if you're watching, take one less touch. Akinola says, what player would you think Arsenal can bring into this current squad to further improve the squad depth? We still need a left wing. I think. You know, I still think we need left wing. I think Madueke showed how good he was on the right. We know Saka's on the right. We know Eze really long term. You know, he could play left wing, but we need a new left wing. Obviously, that's probably the one thing that I feel like we're genuinely missing. Yeah. And I would say if we were to move on Jesus, I think we would miss that profile a little bit. I would like to have another Jesus type profile in this team. But like if Jesus was fit, this team would be disgusting. If Jesus was the same player he was in the first 4 months, that would be disgusting. Genuinely. You could play Jesus and Gyokeres together. He would still be one of our best attackers. Like Jesus at his best is still one of our best attackers, full stop. You know, so I would still want that profile and then a left wing. But outside of that, what else do we need? You know, if Odegaard is back for real, which I think he is, you got Eze, you got Zubi, you got Rice, you got the Messi of second striker box crashers and Marino. What else do you really need? You got Ethan coming through, you got Max, like it's actually disgusting how much we have. I feel like those are the only two things that I would change, you know, is having some sort of fit version of Jesus, because I feel like I like that profile and I would love to have that profile on the team. Don't know if that person exists. You guys will let me know in the chat. And a left wing, like a true left wing star. True left wing star. We wouldn't have bought Gyokeres if Jesus was his normal self. Jesus looked good coming back from his last injury, though, remember? Oh, like, do you know how dark this would be if we didn't get Gyokeres? Do you understand how dark it would be right now? I get that Marino does, like, his every once in a while come in and play striker, but it would be dark because Havertz is injured. So glad we got Gyokeres. We needed to. John says Jesus and Eze would cook. Yildiz is just like Jesus in terms of dribbling. Saka has 17 GA in 19 UCL games. Do with that info what you will. I do not accept any Saka slander. I don't give a shit. I know that Saka is not at his peak best right now. But there just doesn't ever seem to be like this element of, oh, but he was injured. Like there's never a sense of they need to come straight off the medical table and back to their sparkling best. They don't ever get like a 2-3 week period to like get up to speed. But even when Saka's bad, he's good. You know, even when Saka's bad, he's good. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm like Saka, he would have to be the worst I ever seen Saka was with the blonde hair. To me, that was the worst version of Saka. It was dark. I was like, that's bad. He was still scoring goals in that period. It's just Saka's just that's what I think pisses people off about Saka is they'd be like, he didn't play well. And I'm like, yeah, well, he scored. So, you know, like your favorite player, when they play bad, they don't even get past their man. They don't even get a shot off. They're getting yanked at halftime. So yeah, with Saka, I saw some weird ass comments in the chat earlier about Saka. I don't even deal with Saka slander because I'm not trying to hear that. I'm really not trying to hear that. I'm not. Um, Saka as Alex Song was fucking crazy. I mean, that was the worst shit. I was like, you don't do the blonde hair. You're not that. Like some players, they try to change their hairstyle. I want Saka to keep the same trim he's had since he was 18. That same little, just little I keep that. I don't want to see a fade. I don't want to see braids. I don't want to see dreads. I don't want to see nothing. Keep that. That's you. That's it. I don't want to see anything else. That blonde hair had me in hell. I was like, this is the worst I've ever seen you play in your life. What is this? Like, it was the trim. But I do believe in hair theory, and I think once you play badly with a certain hairstyle, you should never play with that hairstyle again. And I think if you go through a bad period, you should change your hair. So like now Odegaard went through the bad period, so he got rid of the flick and now he just has like the spiky. I think hair theory works. I think even like Mbappe, he went through quote unquote baddish period. Now new trim, new vibes. It's just you got to change your hair if you're playing bad, but if you changed your hair and then started playing bad, you need to go back to what you had before. That's hair theory. That's hair theory for you. If I ever seen Saka show up to Soba Realty Training Center with downloaded locks, like Kudus did that one time, I'd be on the first thing smoking. No, that's not you, baby. That's not you. You little regular hairstyle. It's cute. That's what you should be wearing. That's you, you know. Just I love when you analyze the game. I think we're on the same page at time with our attack force going forward. Thank you so much. I do appreciate when people agree with me, but also I like when you guys don't agree with me too. It's fun. When I saw Saka with the blonde hair, I knew we were fucked. It was dark. It was dark. I was like, what is this? Don't ever do this to your hair again, please. Odegaard has KDB's regular style. KDB has Odegaard's normal hair right now. Hair theory is the thing. I'm telling you. If you have a new era coming, you should change your hair. Cut it, do something new. But if you start playing bad, get rid. Get rid. Trossard needs to go bald. What can he do to his hair? He could dye it. He could do peroxide. But he's had that before. Everybody that's gone peroxide in our team has played horrendous. Ben, I'm looking at you. When Ben had the peroxide, not only was his hair melting, but that was some of the worst football I've seen from Ben White. I don't think we're a peroxide club. I think we need to stick with the normal stuff, normal stuff. Johan says, by the way, you cooked in your video about Alvarez, and no shade, I have a wild dream of Berta doing his thing because he's the one who brought him to Atletico Madrid, just saying. I think Julian Alvarez is underrated and definitely a world-class player, and I don't know why he's not spoken about in the same conversations as some of these other people. I don't get it. I don't know if it's because he plays for Atletico Madrid or what, but if I knew we were only going to get one signing this summer, I would definitely knock on the door just to see if there was wiggle room. I think he's brilliant. I would replace Jesus with Julian Alvarez. And I love Gyokeres to death, but, I would love to have both of them in this team. I'm sorry. He is, like, the perfect striker to me. If I had to say, like, outside of, like, an Henry, I love a striker that can create and also scores goals. He's just good shit. He's really good. Wonder if Tim Lewis believes the hair theory. He must. That's why I don't respect him. That's why I never respected Tim Lewis, because how do you walk around with that? How do you walk around with the cul-de-sac? What were he was, like, actively committing violence against me. Like, it felt like a punch to the face every time I saw it. I was like, "How are they speaking to him?" And not just because I would just be looking at the cul-de-sac. I didn't get it. I was like, "That looks horrendous. It's just dark. Like, why are you wearing your hair like that?" All that money, I know he has. He had all that money and couldn't go turkey. Or just do the Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer did the one thing that so many men need to do: accept the inevitable, accept the baldness, cut it off. I'm telling you, going bald will change your life, because then all of a sudden you're like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. This is me, you know? And Tim Lewis had all the money in the world to go turkey, and he didn't do that, but he also didn't do Shearer. Dark. Trossard can learn to shoot. Nelli needs to learn to cross. Glad Arteta subbed. We needed that sub so badly. We needed those subs so badly. I was like, you need to take Trossard off. You need to take Trossard off. But if he misses one more chance, he needs to come off. My head was like on Pluto. The last chance that he missed, where it wasn't even on target. It was just like skewed all wide. I was like, what's wrong with him? Like, get him out. Crazy. Nothing wrong with being bald. Just don't beg it and cling to the 3 strands of hair. This is what I'm saying. What was he thinking? Just having the hair back here, it was dark. I think that you should just cut your hair off. But anyways, Alvarez for Jesus and Yildiz for Trossard. Did you see Yamal cooking Barcola, Mendes, and Zaire in the first minutes? I did not, because I watched Arsenal. I know, it's like, how could you miss the PSG Barcelona game? I did. I watched us. Sorry, I'm addicted. I love Us Down. And I can only focus on us if we're playing. Sorry. But I did not see Lamine Yamal cook, but people were saying that Lamine Yamal was clamped in the second half. So I have to go watch the highlights and see what happened. But I guess PSG are still the best team in the world. That's what people are saying, but ask Chelsea fans, they'll say they're the best team in the world because they're world champions of the universe, If this summer taught us anything, is that any player is available, I'm knocking on that door and asking how much. Just a ballpark. I just want to know how much it would take to bring Alvarez to the club. Sorry. I love it. He's so good. Did City draw? Right? City did draw. What did they give it up late in the game? I don't know. Tomorrow's going to be so good, because I feel like I'm going to be the only person that's won 2 in a row, that won our game at the weekend and also won midweek, right? Because City beat Burnley, but then they drew today. Chelsea lost to Brighton. Yeah, they lost to Brighton, and then they beat Benfica. United didn't play midweek and bent over for Brentford. Tottenham, we don't have Tottenham representation, thank God. And Liverpool lost both. So only I will get to be happy. Only I will be showing all 32. Only I will be talking shit. Just me. That's it. Thank you, Arsenal. Thank you so much. I love being able to, because they're ready to get me, guys. They're ready to get me tomorrow. They thought that they were going to get me. But I escaped. Yeah. So Eric Dyer penalty in the 90th minute is how they went down. Do you guys remember back in the day when that really good Monaco team whooped City as well? Yeah. Just the way you Americans say Juan instead of won is crazy. Like we won a game. What is it supposed to be? Excuse you. Don't do that. Won, like we won the game. What else could it be? I don't know. Just if Arsenal win on the weekend, Liverpool have to win at the Bridge to stay top. Well, the first thing we need to do is win that game against West Ham because West Ham has come to the Emirates multiple times in the last couple of years and have taken points no matter how bad they are. They're on a new manager bounce and all that bull, so we just need to figure out our business first and then go from there. But I'm expecting Liverpool to drop points against Chelsea. So I think we play first. Don't we play on Saturday at 7:00? I think we play first, do we not? Yeah, guys, I don't know. You guys are just gonna have to hate me because I've been saying won my whole life. We've won the game. You guys are talking about won the game. Nah, I'm not gonna be able to say that. We play before Liverpool. Liverpool play right after us. We play at 7 or 3, and they play at 4. No. What is it? 5:30? I can't translate it. No. Yeah, we play first. Yeah, we play first. I think Liverpool will drop points against Chelsea. Yeah, I do. Like Johan, I think it's a draw. They haven't won at the Bridge in like 5,000 years. They got some key injuries, Allison, and Chelsea will be jammy, you know. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a draw. But anything can happen, you know? We play first and then Liverpool at half past on Sky. Can't wait for Yamal versus Cucurella. If Lamine Yamal gets clamped, I swear he must. He must. He must. He must get past Cucurella. I have agendas to run. Is Salah hitting the age curve? I don't know, because every time I think Salah's hitting the age curve, he goes and he does nonsense, for weeks on end. So maybe, but we'll see. Their defense is shit, though. I think both defenses can get got at. It's not like Chelsea have a fortress back there. They got Chalobah and these guys back there. Chalobah and Tosin and Achapong and Disaster. No, not Disaster. Budiashil. They got all of them back there. So they can get got at as well. So yeah. Didn't Chelsea lose another defender with a red card? They lost. Well, Chalobah won't be playing, so it'll probably be Badiashile and Tosin, something like that. So yeah, it's dark for them. Yeah, the Liverpool game is made for Neto. What's Neto? What is he gonna do? I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I think it's just gonna be a nonsense game. I think it's a draw. I don't know. So Neto, you think is gonna do Soboslai, essentially? We'll see. So both Chalobah and Tosin aren't playing. So who the fuck is it then? Who is it? Achapong and Badiashile? Stark. Paul says problem is Chelsea are shit. But this is the thing. It's everybody was saying that same thing when it was Chelsea versus United. But history is history for a reason. If you haven't won at the Bridge since 2013, there's a reason for that. And it's like Chelsea went to United, played the worst version of United that you possibly could, and went there and got turned over. So I get it that like Chelsea are not good right now, but Liverpool are also going through a dodgy patch and Chelsea will be at home. I can see the tomfoolery I can see the tomfoolery, and we need to have some, like, short-term pain for long-term gain. So I'm gonna need Liverpool to drop them points. Even if that means Don is gonna show up to Judge Mo next week, you know, "I told you, man. I told you, man." Like, all right, don't care. I ain't hearing Chelsea or shit talk. Best right back, left back, CDM, CM, Cam in the league and can't do shit. Exactly. Let's see. To be fair, I didn't think we would ever win at St. James again. We had to break that. We had to break that. Like, going to St. James's Park and just it being a solid loss every time is just, it could never. I'm so glad we broke through that. And Jamora says exactly the point. Bogey teams are real. And that's what I'm hoping, that this is just a bogey situation for Liverpool. They go there, Chelsea, you know, thug it out, and there's a, you know, a draw or just Liverpool dropping points, whatever that means, is what I'm looking for. And most importantly, Arsenal win their game. Because if we don't win, then it doesn't really mean anything, does it? You know? So, yeah, Jigun says it pains me, but we need a stinky 1-0. Like, the best type of result would be if Chelsea won, but they couldn't even take, like, solace in it because it was like an own goal, like the Benfica game, and they actually played shit, you know, something like that. So we'll see. But listen, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We talked about hair theory. That's how little there was to really talk about in the game. I hope I covered the game enough. I just don't feel like there was a lot in it, if I'm honest. Like, it was a game that we were meant to win, and because we didn't, like, there wasn't anything really new to say, you know, except for, like, you know, Odegaard was good, the front three struggled, you know, the defense was what it was, you know. So hopefully we have more to talk about against West Ham, but we're just talking about us winning. So yeah, probably put out something tomorrow, but I'm also gonna be on Deluded's channel at 4:30. So 1 hour on Footy Judge Mo, and then after that on Deluded's channel. So 2 lives tomorrow if you guys want to join and watch me talk some more. But yeah, listen, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. But make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel on the way out. We'll definitely chit chat. And yeah, make sure you guys support the videos that I made, the Alvarez video and the Timber video. I'd really appreciate it, especially get into the comments and like those videos so they get spread out to other people. But yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. See you guys next time. Bye.